Welcome to the Butterfly Tumblr Radio channel. Are you ready to start today's story? Let's get started. Imagine coming home to find your locks changed and being told you need a divorce when you had no idea it was coming. This isn't a movie plot, it's the real story of accountant Alex Thompson, who in an instant fell from ordinary life into a whirlpool of chaos. Clutching his phone, standing in front of his own door, Alex is faced not only with his wife's betrayal but also a series of legal and career blows. Follow our narration to uncover the shocking truth hidden behind this divorce story, step by step. As soon as the South Alex plane touched down at Sacramento International Airport, Alex Thompson took out his phone. "Hi, honey," he said cheerfully when his wife, Marlene, answered. "I'm back from San Diego, the plane just landed. I'll be home in about an hour. Love you too. Bye." Driving down I-80 toward Folsom, Alex, an accountant, reflected on how much he disliked business travel. Although he didn't travel often, each trip lasted 2 or 3 nights, which he hated. His boss, Caroline Williams, disliked traveling even more, so Alex made the quarterly trip south to represent the Sacramento office. He hoped Isabella would now be ready to start a family since her freelance art business seemed successful. He believed that working outside the home would make motherhood easier. Humming a classic rock tune, Alex pulled into his driveway, only to find the garage door opener wasn't working. Annoyed, he parked and walked to the front door. To his shock, his key wouldn't fit the lock. After several attempts, he rang the doorbell but heard nothing. He knocked and called out, "Hi, honey, it's me. Something's wrong with the lock. Can you let me in?" No answer. He knocked harder and heard movement inside. Isabella's voice came from behind the door. "I changed all the locks and the garage code." Confused, Alex said, "I don't understand." "Let me in." "No, you don't live here anymore," she replied. "What do you mean?" "This is my home." After a pause, Marlene said, "Talk to the person behind you." Alex turned to see a man in a baseball cap walking toward him. Before Alex could speak, the man handed him an envelope. Alex lay hard away. "You have been served." "What's this?" "Your wife's petition for divorce and a temporary restraining order requiring you to stay 200 yards away from her." Stunned, Alex pounded on the door. "Isabella, we need to talk." A police officer approached, hand on his holster. The man in the cap explained the restraining order to the officer, who then turned to Alex. "Sir, you need to leave immediately, or I will arrest you." Alex, dazed, nodded and walked to his car under the watchful eyes of his neighbors. He drove away slowly, barely aware of his surroundings. Inside the house, Isabella breathed a sigh of relief. "I did it," she thought. He never saw it coming. The next morning, Alex woke up in a motel, confused and exhausted. He spent the day trying to understand what had happened and why, unable to recall anything that might have prompted Isabella's actions. He remained in a state of bewilderment. The good news was that Alex had his shaving kit with him. The bad news was that all his clothes were dirty or wrinkled, and he couldn't go home to get fresh ones because he was locked out. Worse, the restraining order meant he'd likely need a lawyer just to buy a clean suit. He glanced at the clock and saw it was too early to call a law firm. Hungry from skipping dinner, he decided food was his first priority. He found a fast food place open early and grabbed breakfast while listing his tasks. The first was calling his boss to explain his absence. Caroline Williams, a micromanager, wouldn't be happy. He hoped to leave a voicemail, but she answered on the second ring. Alex initially blamed his absence on a cold, but Caroline didn't buy it, forcing him to admit the truth. She was unsympathetic, insisting he must have done something to provoke his wife. Eventually, she grudgingly agreed to let him stay home but only if he promised to return in clean clothes the next day. After this unpleasant call, Alex began searching for a lawyer. Most large firms didn't handle family law, and the ones that did were booked for weeks. Desperate, he called a smaller firm, Henry Grant & Associates, and managed to get an appointment that afternoon. Though he wondered why Grant wasn't busier, he needed help immediately. Alex decided to buy new clothes, checking his bank account first. He was relieved his paycheck had been deposited but horrified to see the joint account with Marlene had only $1 left. Furious, she had taken everything. He added it to the list of issues for his lawyer. He went to Target and bought office-appropriate clothes. On an impulse, he drove by his house but saw no signs of life, so he returned to the motel and had a lonely lunch. Later, he headed downtown to the law firm. The office in an old building near Capitol Mall had an old-fashioned sign. After introducing himself, he was led to Henry Grant's office. Grant, an experienced-looking man in his 60s, listened as Alex explained his situation and handed over the papers. Grant reviewed them carefully before asking Alex what he wanted. "Can you get the restraining order lifted? If I could talk to Marlene, maybe I could fix this," Alex asked. Grant considered this, then leaned forward. "I have a few thoughts on that," he said, and Alex nodded as the lawyer began listing his points. 1. In California, you can't stop a divorce if the other partner wants one. 2. Your wife locking you out shows she doesn't want to discuss her decision. 3. The restraining order means she doesn't want to see you without her attorney. 4. Taking the joint bank account funds is a pressure tactic. You'll eventually get your half, but she's hoping the financial strain will push you to agree to the divorce quickly. 5. She's been planning this for a while. How do you know that, Alex? Alex muttered. Grant explained getting a restraining order takes time. She hired an attorney, prepared the motion, got it approved by a judge, and changed the locks. This wasn't done overnight. Alex sank into a chair. She never hinted anything was wrong. She even said she loved me when I called from the airport. Grant remained silent. Alex continued, "I guess I'll get a divorce then, but why did she do this without even discussing it with me?" Grant replied, "I can't answer that, but I can refer you to a detective agency. They are efficient and reasonably priced, located in the same building. Shall I contact them for you?" "Yes, I want to find out what's going on," Alex said. Grant made the call, and soon the receptionist informed Alex that the detective, Liam Grant, could see him in half an hour. Alex stood outside Sacramento Confidential Investigations, where Liam, a middle-aged man in a tracksuit, greeted him. "I'm Liam Grant, head of the CI division." "Nice to meet you, Alex. Are you related to Henry Grant?" Alex asked. "Yes, I'm his brother. I was a detective in San Francisco before going out on my own. Now, let's talk." Alex told his story. "Your brother says I can't stop the divorce, but I want to know why she did this. It's humiliating." The detective nodded. "I understand. We can find out why, but the protective order is likely her way of setting up her story. Assuming you've never slapped or hurt her, no?" Alex confirmed, "Never." "Then she's framing you as the bad guy. When people ask about the divorce, she'll mention the protective order. Your reputation suffers." "While she says nothing," Liam explained. Alex was stunned. "I can't believe she could be that evil." Liam nodded. "She set this up cleverly. I'll find out why within a week." "That would be great," Alex replied, shaking his hand. For the rest of the day, Alex followed the lawyer's advice to protect his finances. The next morning, he went to work but was greeted by Caroline Williams. "I see you're finally here, Mr. Thompson. You have a lot of work piled up. I hope you'll be diligent in reducing it." "God, how I hate that woman," Alex thought, but he nodded and hurried to his cubicle. By skipping lunch and working hard, he managed to reduce his backlog, but his focus evaporated when Liam Grant called late that night. "We've caught a lucky break, Alex. Our researcher found some interesting information. Can you come by tomorrow to see it?" "Can't you tell me now?" Alex asked. "Our policy is to present findings in person," Liam replied. "Okay," Alex reluctantly agreed. "I'll try to find time. If you don't hear from me, I'll come by first thing in the morning." Miss Williams was as unfriendly as he feared. "Mr. Thompson, you can't just take off work whenever you want. If you insist on taking tomorrow off, it must count against your vacation." "Yes," he replied sullenly, unconcerned about losing a vacation day. The next morning, Alex walked into the office and Liam was in high spirits. "We are in luck. Come in and I'll show you." Liam showed him a fisheye image of Alex's house. A silver BMW i8 appeared, entered the garage, and the door closed. "That was yesterday at 8:51 p.m. Liam pointed out. "That's not your wife's car, is it?" No, she drives a Honda, Alex realized. She had a guest, exactly someone with a new garage code. Another video showed the same car leaving the garage at 1:32 p.m. the following afternoon. Acid churned in Alex's stomach. It didn't take her long to find a new friend, Liam said. How often? Alex asked fearfully. We have documents from the last 6 months. She met this visitor 2 or 3 times a week, Liam replied. Alex felt sick. How did you get this? Your neighbors have motion-activated cameras. Everything goes into a cloud database. Sometimes they catch porch pirates or cheating spouses, Liam explained. Alex gritted his teeth. Too bad we never saw the guy. Liam brought up another video. This time the car's license plate was visible. I have a contact at the DMV, Liam said, pressing a button. A driver's license photo of a handsome man appeared on the screen. Does the name John Blake mean anything to you? Son of a cow, Alex muttered. Marlene works at his ad agency. I bet that's how they met. He stood up abruptly. I'm going to confront him right now. Wait, Liam said, grabbing Alex's wrist. This is why I present information in person. Sit down and let's talk before you do something stupid. Alex glared but sat back down. Listen, Alex, Liam continued, confronting him could prove your wife's case for a restraining order. Your reputation is already shaky. Don't ruin it permanently. Alex bowed his head. I'm not a fighter. If I went to Mackenzie's office, I'd probably lose. Besides, Isabella would love 2 men fighting over her, but I have to do something. I can't let them get away with this. Look, Alex, Liam said, I understand your frustration, but there are other ways to achieve your goals without risking jail. Like what? Alex asked. I discussed your case with Ava Stone, our IT expert. She knows social media and has some ideas. You should hear her out. Liam suggested. Alex looked skeptical. I don't know, she's just down the hall. Give her a chance. If you don't like it, you won't lose anything. Liam encouraged. Liam led Alex to a door labeled Antisocial Network. Ignore that, Liam said. It's her sense of humor. He knocked and stepped inside, with Alex following. The room looked like a college dorm with a battered desk, several monitors and posters on dark gray walls. A tall, slender girl with white hair and gothic makeup greeted them. I'm Ava Stone, she said. You must be the cheaty Alex. What if your wife is cheating? Ava clarified. Cheaty, Alex shook her hand. What if she is? I usually don't do this, but I hate crooks. My dad filled me in, but wait, Liam is your dad. Yes, and Henry is my uncle. It's a family business. I hear your ex has you cornered to shift this. I need all the details, what she did, what you did, and how you feel about it, Ava explained. I'm not sure how a computer expert can help, no offense, Alex said. None taken. I manage social media reputations. It's what you need to counter your ex, Ava explained. But Alex hesitated. Do you use the internet? Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, eBay, Instagram? No, not really, Alex admitted. Okay, then let's cover social media basics. A large part of the population is online all the time. That's where they get news, meet people, find entertainment. It's huge, Ava said, seeing his doubt. There are YouTubers making thousands playing games, businesses thriving on Amazon, and influencers shaping public opinion. If we can get this audience on your side, your ex will be powerless. Can you really do that? Alex asked, intrigued. We'll see. Now tell me your story again, focusing on your emotions and reactions. Emotions move people more than facts, Ava urged. Alex hesitated but then agreed. For the next hour, he recounted his story from an emotional perspective. Ava took notes, asking clarifying questions when needed. When he finished, she reviewed her notes and looked at him seriously. Now let's get to work, Ava said. I think I know how to handle this, but first, Alex, how strong are you? Do you mean physically? Alex asked. No, I mean your ego. How well do you handle criticism in others' opinions? Ava clarified. I guess I'm as strong as anyone else, Alex replied. Well, we'll find out, Ava said. Every good story has an arc. The main character starts here, faces a downfall, hits a low point, then things improve. We need to show you're suffering to gain support. I still don't get it, but I'm already suffering, Alex said. She gave a sad smile. We'll see. You need to be ready to go on short notice. I'll call you. Can you do that if it's during work hours? My boss will be mad, but I'm already on her bad side, Alex said. Great, she said, shaking his hand. I hate cheaters. Alex left, trying to process everything. What did I do to deserve this, he groaned, and what have I gotten into now? The next day, Ava called him during lunch. Can you pick me up? We have a chance. My boss will hate me, he replied, but I'll be there in 20 minutes. Miss Williams reluctantly agreed but remembered, this counts against your vacation. She shouted as he left. When Alex reached the Grant building, Ava was waiting outside. You got a new wardrobe, he joked, but she ignored him. We are going to your house, she ordered. I can't be there with a restraining order, Alex protested. Don't worry. My father saw her leave. He'll watch out for us, Ava reassured him. Are we breaking in? Alex asked. No, just recreating what happened when you got home, Ava explained. And you, Alex, question. We need to give your fans a backstory, she answered. Fans? I don't have fans, Alex said, confused. Not yet, she replied. Now tell me how you felt during the whole encounter. Ava instructed Alex to describe his emotions: excitement, anger, confusion, depression, and shock. Perfect, she said. At your home, walk us through each step and show those emotions. Can you do that? I'm not a good actor, Alex admitted. Don't act, just remember and repeat what you did, Ava directed. She fiddled with his phone, handed him a Bluetooth earpiece, and directed him to his neighborhood. Once there, she called him, motioning him to get out and walk to the door. As Alex attempted to open the house, memories and emotions from that day flooded back, souring his mood. Ring the doorbell, Ava instructed through the earpiece. He pressed the button, remembering his frustration. Knock on the door, she continued, and he knocked hard, feeling the growing irritation. Isabella yells that she changed the locks and wants a divorce, Ava narrated. Alex staggered back, recalling the shock and venom in her voice. He tried to argue, but she didn't relent. There's a bath behind you, Ava prompted, and Alex saw Liam Grant approaching with papers. Liam handed him one and read from another. The text was incomprehensible, but Alex stared at it like it was a death sentence. He turned back to the door and started pounding on it with his palm. The policeman is telling you to leave, Ava continued. He turned around, imagining the policeman's words as a judge is ruling. Without further prompting, he dropped his hands, sighed, and walked away. His legs felt heavy, and his world seemed shattered. Go to the car, Ava reminded him, and he slowly walked to the car, got in, and sat down. You were great, Alex, Ava enthused, getting into the passenger seat. I got some really good shots. He started the engine and drove back downtown, but there wasn't a cop. We don't need him, Ava began. No one but you and Isabella knows about him, she explained. She squeezed his shoulder. That was amazing, Alex. You really got into it. We can't talk right now, Alex asked, the pain in his voice evident. She pulled her hand back and stared out the window. By the time they reached the Grant building, she had made her decision. Park in the lot, she said. You're coming with me. She led him to her office, gestured for him to sit on the futon, and returned with 2 bottles of beer. They drank in silence. After the second bottle, she spoke. You're really into this, aren't you, Ava? He sighed. Yeah, it all came back. The shock, the confusion, the despair. I guess I never dealt with it. She nodded. I'm sorry to put you through that, but your reaction will have a real impact on the audience. He took another sip. I still don't see how this will help. I'll use this video to start your storyline, decline, then we'll bring it back to a happy ending, she explained. So you're promising me blood, sweat, and tears, Alex asked. Exactly, but remember the British lost in the end because America helped, Ava quipped. Yeah, and you have me on your side. It won't be a fair fight, Alex said. She stood up. Now let me work, Ava. I don't know why, but I trust you. He stood. Thanks for the beer. She hugged him quickly. Hang in there, Alex. Things will get better. I promise. As he drove back to the motel, Alex felt a bit more hopeful. The next morning, his mood soured quickly. Caroline Williams was absent, and work was wearing him down. The only bright spot was a call from Ava. Can you come over after work? I've got something you'll want to see. The last 2 hours of work passed quickly. At Ava's office, she sat him down and unfolded a large monitor. To understand, you need to watch some YouTube first, she explained. Ever heard of Gossip Girl Jurdy's Back Fence? No, should I have? Alex asked. You definitely should. Jurdy has one of the most popular channels on YouTube. Let me show you, Ava replied. An ad for beauty products played, and Ava impatiently skipped it. The screen showed a middle-class backyard with a white picket fence, a sign, Gossip Girl Jurdy's Back Fence. Switching to a set with a desk and the same fence behind it, sat a hostess in a 1950s-style blonde wig and clothes. Oh, how nice to see you, the woman shrilled. I'm Jurdy, the Gossip Girl. I just found out the juiciest gossip ever, and I'm going to tell you all about it. She then listed gossip life stories, fashion tips, product recommendations, and more. Charts and videos illustrated each segment. After a few minutes, Ava paused the program. Okay, you get the idea. What do you think? Is this her hobby? Alex inquired. A hobby? Ava snorted. It's her full-time job. Can she make a living doing this? Alex questioned, astonished. How well? Advertisers pay well for popular YouTube shows, Ava explained. How well? A show with 1 million subscribers can make over $50,000 a year, Ava said. $50,000. Not bad, Alex responded. Jurdy's show had about 100 million subscribers last year, Ava revealed. That means she makes $5 million a year. Alex was stunned. Ava sat in another chair. To be successful, a show needs constant content. Jurdy gets most from publicists and advertisers, but she needs more to keep her subscribers. That's where I come in. I suggest stories she can use. I'll push your story to her to get you attention. Why would she be interested in my story? Alex asked. I'm going to make you the symbol of every heartless man who has cruelly abandoned a wife or girlfriend, Ava explained. What? I'm not a quitter, Alex protested. Not in my version, Ava replied. Look at the footage and script I put together for Jurdy. Ava clicked on a file showing Alex's car pulling into his driveway. Ava, read the script. How many of you have been dumped by a boyfriend or kicked out by an insensitive husband? In Sacramento, a wife changed all the locks and kicked him out. The video showed Alex pounding on the door. Look at his face, he can't believe it. Watch him deflate when she hands him the divorce papers. She continued, and for the grand finale, the humiliated hubby takes the long, shameful walk to his car. Alex watched the screen in pain. That was humiliating. Do we have to do it like that? I'm sorry, Alex, but it's the only way, Ava replied. Okay, if you say so, Alex agreed. At least you didn't use names. I hope no one recognizes me. Ava turned away without a word. The next day at work, Alex received a message from Ava. You are live on Jurdy. Fasten your seatbelt for the last hour of work. Alex watched his coworkers but noticed nothing unusual. Caroline Williams glanced at him as he left at 5:30 p.m., but that wasn't unusual. He decided to stop by Ava's office. Jurdy loved it, Ava said cheerfully. She used it just like you saw, but she did the voicing herself. She's already getting a great response. A lot of women love seeing an insensitive man suffer. But I'm not like that, Alex protested. They don't know that, Ava replied. It's spreading online. Someone on Twitter shared your face and now it's going viral. My Facebook accounts are getting posts about it too. Humiliated husband, she added. Great nickname. He muttered sarcastically, so what's next? We let this develop for another day, then move to phase 2, Ava explained. What's phase 2? Alex asked. We turn you into a real villain, Ava replied. Does it have to be? Alex questioned, uneasy. Absolutely. You can't rise unless you fall first, Ava insisted. I don't think Newton said that, Alex remarked. Yes, but Sir Isaac didn't know about the internet, Ava countered. He spent the evening in a somber mood and struggled to fall asleep in the cramped motel room. The next morning, he overslept and had to rush to work. Entering the lobby, he noticed the receptionist staring at him intently and making a phone call as he headed to his cubicle. What was that about, he wondered. Settling at his desk, throughout the morning, an unusual number of employees passed by his cubicle with snide comments and muffled laughter. Just before lunch, a supervisor burst in, Alex, this internet nonsense is affecting your work. It's not professional to air your personal problems. I'm just working on the Wilson case. I'll have the file ready by 2 p.m., Alex replied. Email it to me. Judging by the way you move, it'll take an hour, she said, walking away and leaving Alex anxious. If even Caroline saw it, this story must be everywhere, he groaned. Trying to stay inconspicuous didn't help. During a restroom break, a group of co-workers gathered in the hallway and a nervous intern approached him. Mr. Thompson, some people want to know if your initials are HH. Alex stared in shock as the group erupted in laughter. He hurried to the restroom for refuge. At 5 p.m. he avoided out of the office and drove to the Samuels building, confronting Ava. What did you do to me? Everyone knows it's me, even my boss. They fired me. Why? Ava asked, concerned. Hatchet Face Williams fired me. They are sending me severance pay, Alex explained, frustration evident in his voice. That's great, Ava exclaimed. Don't go anywhere, Alex. I'll be right back. She ran out, leaving Alex puzzled and exhausted. He laid down on the futon, half asleep. He woke when Ava returned and sat beside him. I'm so sorry, Alex, Ava said, taking his hands. I knew phase 2 would be tough, but I didn't think your firm would act so fast. It was the worst part, Alex. Tomorrow we'll let things settle, then launch phase 3, she said. Oh God, now what? Alex asked, groaning. Now your arc will climb. You've hit bottom, it's up from here, Uncle Henry says, don't cash checks from your firm. Uncle Henry says, don't sign anything without his approval, Ava replied. But I'm running out of money, paying for the motel, eating out, buying clothes. It's all adding up, Alex said, worried. Ava brightened, you could move here, live in your office. Alex asked, incredulous, where would I sleep? On the futon until we sort things out, Ava explained, seeing his hesitation. It's silly to waste money on a motel now that you're laid off. You'll be here most of the time anyway. Let's go out for dinner and talk about it, Alex suggested. They went to a small bistro where Alex recounted his day, and she listened sympathetically. After dinner, she insisted on paying the check. Back in the car, Ava said, why don't we stop by your motel, get your stuff, and check out? I'll drive you back to the office. Too tired to argue, Alex agreed. They gathered his belongings and returned downtown. Ava helped him set up the futon as a bed. She reappeared wearing a long t-shirt with video game characters. Everything you need, she asked. He nodded, thanks, Ava. I'm glad to be here and not in that motel. After turning out the lights, Alex lay in the semi-darkness illuminated by computer screensavers and LED lights. A wave of depression washed over him. What happened to my life? I lost my marriage, house, job, and friends. Now I'm trying to sleep in someone else's office on someone else's bed. What did I do wrong? He pondered this until he finally fell asleep. The next morning, Ava brought coffee and sweet rolls. Though still melancholy, Alex was soon distracted by searching social media for mentions of him. Typing humiliated hubby into a search engine, he was shocked by the numerous tweets, TikToks, Instagrams, Facebook links, and even a Wikipedia entry about him. I spent most of yesterday posting images, comments, and links to spread your story, Ava admitted. But it took off on its own. There are comments about you in other countries and languages. Great, he muttered sarcastically. Now I'm infamous worldwide. Even more disturbing were the hateful comments, including some urging him to injure himself. I might need a bodyguard before this is over, he groaned. The farther you fall, now the higher you'll bounce back, Ava encouraged him. I hope you're right because I feel like I'm dropping like a stone, Alex said, disheartened. Meanwhile, Marlene was reading comments about Alex on Jodi's site. Worried, she called Ethan, this is out of hand. I want to get rid of him, not destroy him. He never slapped me or did what they accuse him of. Should I say something? No, Ethan replied sharply. Let it develop. This publicity will make the divorce smoother and probably get you a better settlement. When we go public, people will support you. We couldn't have planned it better. You really think so? Marlene asked, uncertain. Absolutely. Alex has a target on his back and people want to take shots at him. He'll never recover, Ethan assured her. After lunch, Ava received a call from Jodi, which she put on speaker for Alex to hear. Hi, Jodi. Did you like the latest on the humiliated hubby? Ava asked, winking at Alex. It blew up. Best story you've ever sent me. Got 50,000 new subscribers. Got anything else? Jodi asked, thrilled. Perfect timing. I'm putting together more material. It'll be ready by the end of the day, Ava replied. Really? What have you got? Jodi inquired eagerly. What if the humiliated husband isn't such a bad guy? Ava proposed. Are you kidding? That's amazing. Jodi exclaimed. Let's make it 2 episodes. Send them both to me ASAP. After the call, Ava turned to Alex, feeling better. It's good Jodi liked it, but we need to see the subscribers' reactions, he said with a wry smile. I'm starting to feel more hopeful. Ava worked through the evening finalizing the material. Alex monitored social media but mostly stayed out of her way. When she was satisfied, she uploaded everything to Jodi and relaxed after receiving a thumbs up. How about we order a pizza? I've got beer in the fridge. We can relax and unwind, she suggested. Sounds good, Alex agreed. After eating, he asked, how did you and Jodi become such good buddies? We met as freshmen at the California Institute of Technology, Ava explained. Caltech. I wouldn't have guessed. She once wanted to be an electrical engineer, Alex said, surprised. What about you? I majored in computer science but never finished. Something happened and I dropped out, Alex replied, sensing she didn't want to elaborate. Where did you get the nickname Ava? Did you run track or something? She shook her head and grinned. Actually, Ava is short for Avail, from Avail Hamt. My father loves detective novels, especially The Thin Man and The Maltese Falcon. Alex nodded. What about Stone? Her smile faded. That's my ex-husband's last name. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up bad memories. It's fine, she said, looking away. In college, I was a rebellious girl from Sacramento. Joey, my ex, was a bad boy and I got involved with him. We ran away together and my father helped us with an apartment in Pasadena. I didn't know Joey was wasting the money on pills and another woman. It all came crashing down when he left with her. Alex noticed her pained expression. That must have been tough. It was. I ended up on the streets until my dad found me and brought me home. It took a while, but I rebuilt my life. That's why I kept his last name as a reminder of what he did. If I had to do it over, I'd go back to Grant, but I'm used to Stone now, Ava explained. It must have been so painful, Alex said sympathetically. Yeah, but I understand what you're going through, she said impulsively. Alex hugged her, and she reciprocated. Well, aren't we a pair, she said with a sad laugh. The next day, they sat in front of Ava's big screen, waiting for Jodi's new installment. Alex was impatient, but Ava reassured him. Finally, Jodi appeared, clearly excited. I have big news, gossip lovers. The saga of the humiliated hubby has a new twist, Jodi announced. An image of Alex's house appeared, showing a silver BMW pulling into the garage. Guess whose car this is? Ethan Blake, head of the Blake Agency, visiting Mrs. Hubby 3 months before she filed for divorce. Images showed the sports car arriving multiple times. I'm not judging, Mrs. Hubby, but there's more to this story. Stay tuned for our next revelation. Ava turned off the program and they both jumped up, applauding. Alex hugged her tightly. That was amazing. You're amazing, Alex said, staring at her. Then he leaned in for a kiss. She hesitated but then responded fervently. Their passion was interrupted by a knock on the door. Henry Grant's secretary peeked in. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Grant wants to see you, Mr. Thompson. Of course, Alex replied and followed her. Casting one last glance at Ava, Henry Grant was waiting and led Alex into his office. Since you chose our firm, I was very interested to hear about your dismissal. My niece told me and recommended you not cash checks or sign anything from your former employer, Henry said. Yes, sir. She passed it on, Alex confirmed. Good. That could imply a settlement and you don't want to accept any offers now, Henry advised. Okay, Alex said hesitantly. You were fired for violating the firm's spousal misuse policy, correct? Henry asked. Yes, sir. My former boss made that clear, Alex replied. Can anyone else confirm that? Henry inquired. I can give you at least half a dozen names, Alex answered. Great. Assuming that's what happened, I've prepared a wrongful termination lawsuit. You didn't misuse your spouse. They had no reason to believe otherwise. Your public firing slandered your name and they didn't follow company procedure. I believe you have a strong case for $10 million in damages. Does that seem fair? Henry asked. $10 million, yes sir. That sounds fair. Do you think we can get that much? Alex asked, stunned. We have a good chance, but it might take 3 to 5 years in court, Henry warned. Alex's face fell, but Henry continued, they won't want bad publicity and your popularity is rising. I think we can quickly settle out of court for about half plus legal fees. $5 million will be fine. Alex said quickly. Henry smiled. I hoped you'd think so. Sign this and I'll start the process. Alex signed and asked, will this affect my divorce? I don't want Isabella to benefit. I don't think so. These events occurred after the divorce petition. Her actions led to your dismissal, so she shouldn't benefit, Henry assured him. Alex rejoiced and hurried back to Ava's office. She was busy at her keyboard when he tried to share his news. She interrupted, can it wait, Alex? I've got a deadline. Disappointed, he said, I think I'll go for a walk. Receiving no reply, he left. He walked to the Capitol Mall, stopping at the Tower Bridge, staring at the Sacramento River. I shouldn't have kissed her, she probably thinks I'm a fool, but she did respond. Maybe it was just pity, he thought to himself. Returning to the Grant building, he found Ava still immersed in her work, maintaining the distance between them. Meanwhile, Marlene angrily called Ethan Blake, have you seen that gossip show on YouTube? How did they get video of you in my garage? I thought you were careful. I was. One of those video doorbells must have caught me. They keep footage for months, Ethan replied. Do you think Alex could be behind it? Marlene asked. Alex? Are you crazy? He's the humiliated husband. He wouldn't do that to himself. He didn't know anything, Ethan said. I know, but it must be somebody, Marlene insisted. Yeah, and I'd shoot them if I could find out. It's twisted our plans, Ethan grumbled. I hate it. You know what would make me feel better? Come over and spend some time with me, Marlene said seductively. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't want to end up in another video, Ethan hesitated. Come after dark. Turn off your headlights before the driveway since Alex is gone. It'll be safe. I'll make sure you won't regret it, she coaxed. The next day, the relationship between Ava and Alex seemed back to normal. Ava grew more animated as the time to watch the latest Jerdy's Gossip Girl episode approached. She beckoned Alex to the large screen monitor to watch with her. After the introduction, Jerdy appeared, her excitement clear. The humiliated husband saga continues. Last time, I revealed Marlene, his unfaithful wife. A picture of Isabella appeared. Was having an affair with advertising executive Ethan Blake. Could this be why she kicked her helpless hubby out? Jody checked the police records for the humiliated hubby. No convictions, no complaints. Odd, could Mrs. Hubby just want to further humiliate him? But why did Judge Harold Schmaz issue a restraining order? Could it be because Judge Chalmers is running for re-election? An ad for Judge Chalmers appeared, and guess what? 3 weeks before the restraining order, the judge received a $10,000 campaign contribution from McKenzie Advertising Agency. The list of donors appeared with the contribution circled. I'm not suggesting the judge acted because of the donation. Draw your own conclusions. But I think we owe the humiliated hubby an apology. Wow, just wow, Alex said as Ava turned off the video. That should give Isabella and her boyfriend something to worry about. He reached out to hug Ava but held back. Ava, you're a genius. That looked convincing, she said. But the big question is how the internet will react. Why don't you get lunch for us? We'll have plenty of feedback by the time you get back. When Alex returned with a deli bag, Ava beckoned him over. Look at this, she said, pointing to a monitor. She was scrolling through an endless list of comments, many with emoticons and gifts. What are those? He asked. That's the HHH, humiliated hubby Twitter feed. Jody's episode sparked a flurry of comments. That's just one segment of the reaction. Jody's show is getting its own reactions on YouTube, Instagram, and more. It looks like a lot of people have watched it, and now they are taking sides. Hubby's team is ahead of Mrs. Hubby's team by about 70% to 30%, Alex froze. Wait, 30% are on Isabella's side. Ava reassured him, don't worry. You'll always have the crazies. What matters is you've gone from zero to hero for most Twitter users. He looked at her, shaking his head appreciatively. You were right. This storyline is really working. You're amazing. He said, stepping toward her, but she pulled away. Listen, Alex, about what happened between us the other day. Oh yeah, I think we need to cool down a little. I know we are kind of living together, but I don't know if I'm ready, Ava began. Alex responded, trying to ease the tension, no, it's okay, Ava. I get it. I got caught up in the moment. She looked uncertain. I mean, no, really, he interrupted, I get it. Before they could continue, Alex's phone rang. It was his former boss, Caroline Williams. Alex, she said pleasantly, I'm glad I caught you. Can you come into the office? I have important information for you. I don't know, Caroline. We didn't part on good terms, Alex replied hesitantly. I know, Alex, and I'm sorry, but something's happened here you'll want to know about. It'll be worth your time. I promise, Caroline insisted. He started to refuse but remembered the awkwardness with Ava. Okay, I'll be there soon, he agreed. When Alex arrived at his old office building, he was greeted warmly by the receptionist, who even asked for an autograph. Caroline Williams came out to meet him and escorted him to her office with staff peeking out from their cubicles like prairie dogs. Let me get to the point, Alex, she began. Last time we met, things were said that I wish I could take back. Your work has always been excellent, and we've missed you. We'd like to offer you your job back. Alex remained silent, so she quickly added, not your old job, a promotion to director with a 15% raise. You can keep the severance pay as a signing bonus. What do you say? Alex sat up straight. So you admit I was fired for spousal misuse, which I didn't commit, and my termination didn't follow the employee handbook. That's all water under the bridge, Alex let it go. Alex, let's focus on the future, your promotion, pay raise, and bonus plan, Caroline said, trying to smooth things over. Alex stood up. Caroline, you can take the raise, pay increase, and new title and shove it. I'll see you in court. He left her office, hearing applause from some of the cubicles as he exited. After lunch, Henry Grant called Alex to discuss his visit. Tell me you made no commitments and didn't sign anything, Henry said. Alex repeated what Caroline Williams had said. The lawyer grinned. It wasn't prudent to go in there without a lawyer, but I understand your boss's desperate attempt to get you back is a positive sign. We'll likely hear from their lawyer soon. When Ava returned, they ordered Thai food and discussed the visit. Alex recounted his run-in with Caroline and mentioned the lawsuit but didn't share the details to avoid looking like he was trying to impress her. Ava seemed happy for him. "After all you've been through, you deserve a little luck," Ava said. The conversation paused and Alex noticed Ava staring at him. "What's the matter, Ava?" She hesitated before asking, "You asked me about my past. Can I ask you about yours?" "Sure, ask," Alex replied. "How did you and Isabella end up together?" Ava inquired. Alex rolled his eyes. "I met her at a Chamber of Commerce event. We hit it off, talked all evening, and things moved quickly. We got married 6 months after we met, and you didn't know her that well." Ava asked. "I thought I did. She told me she was divorced and I believed her ex was an idiot. She wanted to elope and we got married right after her divorce was finalized. It all seemed exciting and romantic at the time," Alex explained. Ava sat in silence, processing what he had shared. "I was just curious how you two ended up together." She stood up, yawned, and stretched. "I'm really tired. I think I'll go to bed early. See you in the morning, Alex." He watched her door close and muttered to himself, "What's this all about?" The next morning, Alex's phone rang early. "Mr. Thompson, this is Henry Samuel's office. Mr. Grant would like to meet with you this morning." "Sure, I can be there in about an hour," Alex replied. He knocked on Ava's door and found her fully dressed. "Good morning, Alex." "Who was on the phone?" "Your uncle's secretary. He wants to see me in an hour. Can I use your shower?" "I think your uncle would appreciate it." Ava waved him off, and he showered, shaved, and dressed. When he came out, he saw Ava had bought coffee and croissants. "You need caffeine and carbs for a good breakfast," she said with a smirk. At the lawyer's office, the receptionist greeted Alex warmly. "We weren't expecting you," she said with a smile. Henry Grant looked stern as Alex sat down. "I've been negotiating with your former employer. We couldn't agree on the $5 million we discussed." Alex felt disappointed. A hint of a smile appeared on the lawyer's face. "However, I secured $6.5 million. I hope that's satisfactory." $6.5 million. "You're kidding," Alex exclaimed. "They'll cover my fees too. The only condition is a non-disclosure agreement and no public comments about the deal. Is that okay?" Henry asked. "For $6.5 million, I will gladly stay silent," Alex replied. The lawyer gestured for Alex to stop. "Remember, the IRS and the state will take their share. You'll get about half." Alex smiled. $3.5 million is more than I expected. "I'm not complaining, but please don't tell anyone, especially your family." "I never discuss a client's business without their consent," the lawyer assured him. Alex then returned to Ava's office. She looked curious. What did Uncle Henry say? "Do you have any plans for tonight?" he asked nonchalantly. "No, why?" "Great, I'd like to thank you by taking you to dinner. Have you been to the Firehouse restaurant?" "I'd love to, but the Firehouse is expensive." "Are you sure?" she replied. "I've already made reservations and it's not too expensive for a man about to get a very good settlement," Alex said. Realization dawned and she jumped with delight. "Oh, Alex, congratulations. I'm so happy for you." Then she looked concerned. "The Firehouse tonight? I don't have anything to wear and I need to get my hair done." "No, you don't need to change anything. It took me a while, but now I think your style suits you," he said. She hesitated but then hurried into her bedroom. A few minutes later, she emerged. "I need to shop." "Damn you, Alex. I haven't shopped in years." She grabbed her car keys. "Stay here if anyone needs anything." "Handle it." "I'll be back soon." She sprinted out the door. It was dark when she returned with several bags. She quickly disappeared into her bedroom. Alex decided to get dressed too. He put on the only suit he had salvaged from his house. Behind him, he heard her voice. "Well, what do you think?" He turned to see her in an ankle-length black halter dress. "Ava, is that you?" he asked, surprised. Her face fell. "You don't like it?" No, no, he rushed over, you look amazing, like a model. I've just never seen you in such an elegant dress. Relieved, she smiled, I was afraid it was too much, but it looked so good in the store. He stepped back to take another look at her. The black dress contrasted with her hair, and the silver high-heeled sandals completed the look. You look so tall, and the dress really suits you, he marveled, then glanced at his own clothes. Now I'm wondering if I look good enough to go with you. She laughed, kissed his cheek, and said, I would have told you if you didn't. Now why don't you call us a cab? As they finished dinner on the firehouse's brick-lined terrace, Ava sipped her wine and got serious. Alex, remember how I pulled away the other day, she asked. His smile faded. I remember, but it was my fault. No, it wasn't you, Alex. It was me. She looked down at the table. Remember when I told you about my marriage? It really hurt me, and I haven't dated since then. He looked uncomfortable. I'm sorry, Ava. I didn't mean to pressure you. No, you didn't. I just reacted instinctively when I first met you. I thought you were just another clueless husband, but I've come to see you're wise, funny, romantic, and loyal. That's important to me. She blushed. If you wanted to kiss me again, I wouldn't run away. He smiled triumphantly and took her hand. Before he could speak, a waiter approached. I think we'll skip dessert, Alex said. Ava blushed again. Meanwhile, Marlene angrily tried to contact Ethan Blake. What's this about bribing Judge Chalmers for a protective order? I thought you said he was your friend. In politics, friend means sponsor. The judge needed a friendship gesture to help, but now the agency directors have kicked me out, and the California Department of Revenue is auditing us. I'm screwed, Ethan explained. Oh, Ethan, I'm so sorry, Isabella said. Sorry is worthless. Forget my number while I fix this nightmare, he snapped, hanging up. What am I going to do now? She moaned. Alex and Ava, engrossed in each other, barely noticed the Lyft driver as he dropped them off at the Grant building. They hurried to the elevator and up to the 6th floor, hugging tightly. Once inside Ava's office apartment, she told him to wait while she went to her bedroom. I'll be just a minute, she said. When he entered, he found the room lit by candles and Ava stood in the soft light. They had an incredibly good time that night. The next morning, Alex woke up early and lay thinking. He got up quietly to avoid waking Ava. When he returned, she was already awake and dressing. She looked at him apprehensively. Where did you go? I needed to take a walk and think, he replied. What were you thinking about? She asked, trying to hide her worry. He sat across from her with a serious expression. Losing my marriage, home, and job has made me rethink my future. Everything seemed clear before, but now I'm questioning what I want and where I want to live. He saw her uncertainty and explained, I'm not from Sacramento. My father was in the Army and I grew up in Colorado Springs. We moved here because my mom had relatives in California. Now that my parents are gone, I have no ties here. He showed her his phone. My realtor says there's an offer on the house coming soon. He sipped his coffee. I lost my job, and thanks to your uncle, I have some financial breathing room. When the divorce goes through, I'll be done with Marlene in Sacramento. It's not a bad city, but it's nothing special to me. She nodded, though her expression seemed to wilt. I've been thinking, and I want to leave and start fresh somewhere else. Maybe the Pacific Northwest. It's supposed to be beautiful, he paused awkwardly. I'm sorry, Ava. What I mean is, would you consider coming with me? She was bracing for the worst, so it took a moment to process. You want me to come with you for how long? As long as you want, Alex replied. But how long do you want me to stay, she asked. I don't want you to ever leave, Alex confessed. She gasped and hugged him tightly. After a long embrace, he pulled back. I know it's a lot to ask, Ava. Leaving your family and job, and you don't know me that well yet, he began. Shut up, she interrupted. Your problem, Alex, is not understanding when someone says yes. She kissed him again, showing she needed no more convincing. For the next few days, they were almost oblivious to others. Their relationship change was noticed by everyone, providing amusement for the ladies on the floor and eye-rolling for the brothers. Reality soon intervened. Alex had to consult Henry Grant about the divorce. Marlene became reasonable, and issues were quickly resolved, allowing the divorce to proceed without conflict. Alex arranged for Henry to handle the house sale closing and the settlement with his accounting firm, keeping the outcome from Ava for now. Ava had worked for several clients, primarily her father. She cautiously informed him of her plans to leave with Alex. "Ava, are you sure?" her father said. "I remember what happened with Joey. I don't want you to get hurt again." She tensed, expecting a confrontation. "It's different now, Dad. I'm older and more careful. Alex is nothing like Joey, no impulsiveness, no wandering eye, no drinking problem." "I know," he said, surprising her. "I've checked. He's tough, reliable, intelligent, and hard-working. He was a faithful husband, just naive about Marlene. You've chosen well. I'd hate to see you go, but if you want to, you have my blessing," he said. "Oh, Papa," she exclaimed, hugging him tightly. When she returned to her chair, he said, "I'm glad you won't have financial problems. I'd hate to see you close your business, though. You're really good at it, and I rely on you more than you know." She laughed. "Going with Alex doesn't mean I'll stop working. I can run my business from anywhere with a laptop and high-speed internet. You're not getting rid of me that easily." "I'm very glad to hear that," her father said. Then his expression turned serious. "There's something else you both need to hear. Alex should join us." Puzzled, she found Alex, and when they returned, Henry sat on the edge of his desk. "I've learned some news that may affect you both," he said. Ethan Blake, her ex-wife's lover, had been ousted from his agency and was under investigation for tax fraud. "Alex," Henry continued, "he and Isabella are no longer dating and don't talk anymore." Alex and Ava exchanged glances. "Okay," Alex said firmly. Ava looked at her father. "Why make such a big fuss about this?" The detective looked at the couple. "It's not what happened, but what might happen next. Alex, your ex's scheme failed. She has no prospects of a new lover or selling her work. I think she'll try to make up with you." Ava side-eyed him skeptically. "Good luck with that," Alex waved dismissively. "I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole." Liam nodded. "I understand, but don't underestimate her. She can delay the divorce, object to the house sale, or petition for family counseling." Ava mentioned their plans to leave town. "Marlene could drag this out for a long time," Liam explained. "But why would she do that?" Alex asked sharply. "She gets to keep living in the house and has more time to try to reconcile with you. If she learns about your financial settlement, she might demand money in exchange for the divorce," Liam elaborated. "What a nightmare," Alex exclaimed. "You don't know the half of it," Henry added. "Let me tell you what else I found out." After hearing the new information, Alex and Ava were stunned. Alex's face was white with anger, and Ava was worried, seeing him so upset. "What are you going to do, Alex?" she asked fearfully. "I'd like to strangle her," he replied firmly. Seeing Ava's reaction, he quickly reassured her, "Don't worry, babe, I'd never do that. But I want to repay her somehow." She looked thoughtful. "I know someone who can help us." They both laughed. "Let me message her about another installment of the humiliated hubby saga." Within seconds, the phone buzzed. She grinned and showed Alex the reply, "I want it, I want it, I want it." They quickly worked on the information Liam had found, preparing it for Jody. After a couple of hours, Alex's phone rang. Ava saw the name on the display and the anger on Alex's face. She went to the bedroom to give him privacy but could still hear the anger in his voice when the call ended. It was Marlene, he told her. "She wants to meet tomorrow at our house to settle some details. She hinted at wanting to reconcile." "You told her you'd get back to her?" Ava asked. The question was how quickly they could get this information to Jody and when she could air it. "If we can send it today, she might work on it right away. It could mean a late night for us, but it'll be worth it," Alex said. "Let's do it," Ava agreed. The next afternoon, Isabella was nervously checking herself in the mirror when Alex arrived. In a lift, she was surprised but realized this could work in her favor. "Worst case, I'll drive him back to his apartment. Best case, he stays the night," she thought. When he reached the porch, she was already holding the door open. She tried to kiss him, but he pulled away. "Don't rush," she scolded herself. She gestured for him to sit in the living room. "Do you have the papers we need to sign?" he asked. "I do," she replied, spreading them on the coffee table. "But before we get into that, I need to apologize. I've made big mistakes and treated you terribly. This whole divorce is like waking up from a bad dream. I don't know what I was thinking. I was selfish and cruel, and I don't even know why. All I know is that I wish I could make it up to you." He started to speak, but she continued, "The prospect of selling the house made me realize what happened." She smiled slightly. "We had so many happy times here, full of hope and love. Now I can't bear to lose that." She leaned forward, a tear glistening in her eye. "Is there any way we can get that feeling back? Can't we start over? We don't have to sell the house if you're willing to try. I'd spend the rest of my days making you as happy as you deserve." He looked at her coldly. "Let me get this straight, Marlene. You want me to forgive you for cheating, forget the restraining order, and forget locking me out of my own home? Honey, I know I treated you horribly and did terrible things that hurt you. I can't explain why I did those things. It's like I went temporarily insane, but I've come to my senses. I remember how good we were together. Please, baby, let's not throw the good away with the bad." He looked at her incredulously. "Are you out of your mind?" he growled, and she flinched. "Let me make this clear, I'm an accountant. I deal with assets and liabilities, and you, Isabella, are a huge liability. The sooner I get rid of you, the happier I'll be. Now, if you'll give me the papers to sign, I'll leave and hopefully this will be the last time I see you." Shocked, Marlene handed Alex the papers from the real estate agent. As he signed, she noticed a car idling outside. He signed quickly, got up, and headed to the door. While she desperately searched for a way to salvage their relationship, before she could say anything, he turned and smiled grimly. "Have you ever heard of Gossipy Jody?" he asked. She shuddered. "I think you should watch her latest show. You'll find it very interesting." With that, he walked out to the waiting car. "Everything okay?" Ava asked. He nodded and smiled. "Everything's fine." As they drove away, Isabella rushed to her computer, logged onto YouTube, and found Jody's gossip channel. She watched nervously as Jody began her introduction. A banner appeared on the screen, "Humiliated hubby, the rest of the story." Hey, gossipers. You all want to know more about the humiliated husband and his not-so-decent wife. Well, now Jody has the latest chapter for you. Turns out Janica wasn't seeking a divorce because of spousal misuse. She wanted out to have an affair with her lover. She even got her lover to bribe a judge for a protective order to make her husband look bad. Chilling, isn't it? But there's more. This wasn't a passionate affair, it was a scam. Mrs. McAfee had done this to 5 husbands. She'd seduce a sucker, marry him, then divorce him for a richer target. Each time she perfected her scheme, but this time Jody's friends, yes, you know who you are, caught wind of it. Mrs. Michelli's latest scheme failed. Her candidate for husband number 6 is dealing with a tax audit, and husband number 5, our hero, is heading off into the sunset with someone special, no longer humiliated. Oh, and some angry ex-husbands in California want to chat with Mrs. Machiavelli. Turns out she skipped divorce houses and just cleaned out their savings and left town. So beware, Sacramento men, Mrs. Machiavelli is on the prowl for her next sucker. No. Isabella screamed, slamming her laptop shut. But her phone rang immediately. Realizing it was a friend, she answered, "Hi, Isabella, or should I say, Mrs. Machiavelli." She threw the phone across the room, screaming, "I've got to get out of this town." As Alex and Ava traveled down the I-5 freeway, Alex glanced at Ava. "How about we take the 101 along the coast? It sounds scenic and romantic." "That sounds perfect," she agreed. He squeezed her hand. "Sure, it'll take longer to get to Seattle, but we are in no hurry." "Just as long as we get there before our funds run out," she noted. He looked at her oddly. "I don't think we need to worry about that, babe." "Oh, I never told you about the settlement, did I?" "You said it was good," she replied. He blushed. $65 million. Her mouth dropped open. What? After taxes, it'll be about half that. She was still stunned. That's amazing. Why didn't you tell me before? I didn't want you to think I was using the money to win you over, he explained. She rolled her eyes. I don't care about the money. My job is to manage social media for clients. Your job is to take care of my needs. Think you can handle that? He smiled cheerfully. I can handle it. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the story, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications for updates.